Walt Disney once said, "We don't make movies to make money, we make money to make more movies," which is a nice quote, but for all the awards and critical praise a film might get, it still comes down to money, and it's gotta be pretty sweet to call your film the highest grossing movie ever for any length of time. And though you can look at the numbers a lot of different ways, there are technically 11 films that have set that record over the years. Greetings folks, I'm Greg Elliott with Screen Rant, and today, let's take a look at every film to become the highest grossing movie of all time. D.W. Griffith's The Birth of a Nation in 1915 is both a tremendous achievement in the history of cinema, but also one of the most controversial and harmful movies ever released. And making about 15 million, nearly 400 in today's money, it held the title of highest grossing movie of all time for nearly 25 years until 1939's Gone with the Wind.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
The Birth of a Nation and Gone with the Wind are similar in a lot of ways in regards to their impact on cinema and ethical taboos, and Gone with the Wind set the then record at about 32 million by the time MGM withdrew it from circulation at the end of 1943, and later upped it to 67 million after a couple re-releases. It was beat by The Sound of Music in 1965 when it hit nearly 115 million, but Gone with the Wind took back the title after another re-release in 1971 with 116 million. And when you adjust for inflation, it is still technically the highest grossing film of all time.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Godfather, considered one of the greatest movies ever made, set a new record in 1972 at around $134 million. Jaws ate the dawn for lunch in 1976 with nearly 194 million, but the shark got completely blown out of the water in 1978 by Star Wars when it made $410 million in its initial run, not to say anything of the hundreds more it made in its many later re-releases.
Great shot, kid! That was 1 in a million!
Another Steven Spielberg film, E.T., surpassed Star Wars in 1983 when it made about $620 million in its initial release, until Spielberg made his third movie to be the highest grossing film of all time, Jurassic Park, which brought in about $913 million in 1993.
We're gonna make a fortune with this place.
That film held on to its butt, or at least the highest grossing title, for 5 years until James Cameron's Titanic made truly, excuse the pun, Titanic amounts of money in its original theatrical run, over doubling what JP had made, bringing in nearly $2.1 billion worldwide before it left theaters in February 1998. It was then the highest grossing film of all time until 2010, when, taking a page from Spielberg's playbook, James Cameron one-upped himself and released Avatar, which brought in an incredible $2.75 billion in its initial run. That's $650 million more than Titanic, and it added another $46 million or so in re-releases going into 2011. That held on to the record for nearly 10 years, and maybe because fans got tired of waiting for the sequels, or maybe just because it was the inevitable culmination of an unprecedented 22 films over 12 years, Avengers Endgame just barely edged out Avatar in 2019 by a smidge over $8 million, and it's currently sitting on a worldwide box office take of just under $2.8 billion.
No amount of money ever bought a second of time.
Nearly all of these top-grossing films did better with re-releases, and the MCU machine shows no signs of slowing down, but Endgame has set a very high bar, and who knows if we'll ever see another box office juggernaut like it again. But we will definitely be here to tell you about the next highest-grossing movie of all time, so make sure to keep coming back to Screen Rant to stay in the know on all things Hollywood. I am Greg Elliott, thank you for watching, and hey, we'll see you next time.